Imagine yourself living in the world of Hey Arnold. You're standing on the familiar corner of Vine and 31 Est, where the bustling city street buzzes with honking cars, chattering passers-by, and the scent of fresh donuts from the bakery a block over. The late afternoon sun casts a warm glow over the neighborhood, and in the distance, you hear the laughter of kids mingling with the sounds of radios and sidewalk music. Just as you're about to cross the street, you hear a familiar voice call out, "Hey, you there?" You turn to see none other than Gerald, with his iconic high-top fade, jogging over with a grin on his face. "You got to come with me to Arnold's. He's got this wild plan, and I just know it'll be better with you there," Gerald says, his eyes wide with excitement. Curious, you nod, and soon enough, you're following him down the street to the boarding house where Arnold lives. You pass the familiar sights, Mr. Green's butcher shop, the magazine stand run by Mrs. Vitello, and Ernie's construction site. The neighborhood feels alive, every corner brimming with stories, and you can't help but feel part of it all. When you reach Arnold's place, you head up to his room, a place that almost feels like a secret hideout. High above the noise of the streets, Arnold's got his usual thoughtful look on his face, leaning back in his hammock under the skylight. And he sits up when he sees you. "Glad you could make it," he says with a smile. "Gerald and I had an idea, and we thought you'd want to help out. Turns out, the latest challenge in the neighborhood is the big quiz bowl happening at P.S. 118. It's a school-wide competition, and Arnold's class is in the running. It's not just any quiz bowl though," Arnold explains. "This year, they're making it a citywide event, so schools from all over are coming to compete. We need a team that knows everything from history to geography. And well, we're one person short." You raise an eyebrow, feeling the weight of his suggestion. You weren't expecting to be part of a quiz bowl team today, but before you can react, Arnold nods encouragingly. "I know you're great with this stuff. Plus, we could use your quick thinking if things get tough." Gerald chimes in, "And I've seen how fast you can answer those questions. We're counting on you to help us make P.S. 118 proud." Their enthusiasm is contagious, and you find yourself nodding. "All right, count me in," you say, and the three of you exchange high fives. Just then, Helga barges in, arms crossed, wearing her usual scowl. "Well, well, if it isn't the dream team," she sneers, though there's a twinkle in her eye. "Don't think I'm just going to let you all stroll into that competition without a fight. I'm signing up too. This is serious business, and I plan to win." You can tell this quiz bowl just got a whole lot more interesting. With Helga in the mix, things are bound to get unpredictable. And as the countdown to the event begins, you're left wondering what adventures lie ahead in the days to come. The days fly by as you and the rest of the team prepare for the quiz bowl. Every afternoon after school, you, Arnold, Gerald, and a rotating crew of classmates gather in Arnold's room, turning his little sanctuary into a buzzing hub of activity. Gerald quizzes everyone on geography and history, while Arnold dives into science and math questions, always calm and collected. Helga, to no one's surprise, shows up uninvited, often rolling her eyes at the questions, but staying longer than she ever admits. Today, you're going over some trickier history questions with Arnold and Gerald when Helga suddenly storms in, holding a crumpled-up flyer. "You won't believe this," she says, dropping the paper on the table. You look down to see it's an announcement from P.S. 119, a neighboring school that will also be in the quiz bowl. The headline reads, "P.S. 119's team aims to take down P.S. 118 biggest rivals in the city." Arnold raises an eyebrow. Looks like they're serious about winning. Helga crosses her arms, scoffing. "Serious? They think they've already won. Those little show-offs think we're a joke, and I, for one, am not going to let them think that for long." She glares at each of you, as if daring you to disagree. Gerald nudges you with a smirk. guess we've got more motivation now. No way we're letting P.S. 119 win, right? You nod, feeling a new surge of determination. It's one thing to be excited for a quiz bowl, but when there's competition involved, especially against P.S. 119, you're more than ready to prove yourselves. For the next hour, the four of you focus harder than ever. Arnold goes over math riddles, Gerald fires off lightning round questions, and even Helga seems more focused than usual. At one point, she surprises everyone by answering an obscure science question with perfect accuracy. You raise an eyebrow, impressed, and she shoots you a look as if daring you to mention it. Finally, after a long study session, Arnold stands and stretches. All right, team. We've got 2 more days before the competition. Let's meet back here tomorrow to go over everything one last time. As everyone gathers their things, Arnold pulls you aside. Hey, thanks for sticking with us. I know it's a lot, but it feels good to have a strong team going into this. You smile, feeling that Arnold's confidence in you isn't just about the quiz bowl. It's about knowing you're part of something bigger than yourself. On your way out, Helga falls in step beside you. She's uncharacteristically quiet for a moment before mumbling, "Don't mess up at the quiz bowl. Got it? I don't want to lose to those P.S. 119 dweebs because of you." You smirk and nod, knowing it's her way of saying she's glad you're on the team too. The morning of the quiz bowl arrives, and the whole school is buzzing with excitement. Banners are hanging in the hallways, and students are cheering as they pass by, wishing you and the team luck. You feel a mixture of excitement and nerves fluttering in your stomach, but seeing the confidence on Arnold's and Gerald's faces calms you down. In the school auditorium, rows of seats are filled with kids and teachers, while a panel of judges sits at the front, setting up the microphones and question cards. You glance over to the opposing side, where the team from P.S. 119 is seated, looking sharp and full of confidence. One of them, a kid named Derek, catches your eye and smirks, as if he's already sizing you up as an easy opponent. Helga notices and rolls her eyes, muttering, "That kid thinks he's the smartest guy in the room. We'll show him." Soon, the announcer steps up to the microphone. "Welcome everyone to this year's citywide quiz bowl. Today, we have a special showdown between P.S. 118 and P.S. 119, with both teams vying for the top spot. Teams, please take your places." You, Arnold, Gerald, and Helga make your way to the stage, taking your seats behind a long table. Helga sits up front, arms crossed, ready to dive in. You can see the P.S. 119 team whispering to each other, looking confident and prepared. The announcer explains the rules, and soon, the first round begins with a series of general knowledge questions. The questions start easy, and you find your rhythm quickly. The judges ask about world capitals, famous authors, and classic science facts. Arnold's hand flies up to answer a geography question, and Gerald confidently nails a history fact. You surprise everyone with a quick answer about chemistry that earns an approving nod from Arnold. But P.S. 119 isn't backing down either. Derek and his teammates are sharp, answering just as quickly and keeping the score close. The tension in the room grows as the scores stay neck and neck, neither team willing to give up ground. By the time the third round rolls around, you're fully focused. The questions are tougher now, complicated math problems, obscure historical figures, tricky vocabulary words. You and your teammates are giving it everything you've got, and you can feel the excitement building. Every correct answer from your side brings cheers from the P.S. 118 supporters, while P.S. 119's crowd responds in kind. Finally, the announcer holds up his hand for silence. We've reached the final question of the round. It's a tiebreaker, and this will determine which team wins the competition. You exchange glances with Arnold, Gerald, and Helga. The pressure is on, and you can feel everyone's energy focused on this one last question. The announcer leans in, glancing between both teams. And here is the question: which city is known as the birthplace of jazz music? For a split second, there's silence. Then, as if on instinct, your hand shoots up. The announcer nods toward you, and you confidently answer New Orleans. The crowd goes silent, and then a cheer erupts as the announcer beams. That is correct. The winners of this year's Quiz Bowl are P.S. 118. Your team jumps up, celebrating with high fives and hugs as the audience roars with applause. Even Helga breaks into a rare smile, clapping you on the back. The whole school is chanting, and for a moment, you're caught up in the joy of victory, surrounded by friends who are just as thrilled. As the crowd begins to settle down, you glance over at the P.S. 119 team. Derek gives you a grudging nod of respect, and you can't help but feel proud, not just of winning, but of doing it together with your friends. After the excitement of the Quiz Bowl, you're practically a school hero. As you walk through the halls, students you barely know give you high fives, and a few teachers nod approvingly. Gerald has already told the story of the final tiebreaker at least 5 times, adding a little more flair each time. It's clear that the entire school is proud of the team's win. By lunchtime, Arnold suggests heading to Slarson's ice cream parlor to celebrate. "We earned it," he says with a smile. Plus, Mr. Simmons said he'd cover the first round of ice cream for the winning team. The idea of free ice cream is enough to get everyone on board, and soon, you, Arnold, Gerald, and even Helga are on your way to Slarson's. As you arrive, the familiar jingle of the doorbell greets you, and you're hit with the sweet scent of chocolate and waffle cones. Mr. Slauson, the owner, waves cheerfully when he sees you all. "Well, if it isn't the champions, first round's on me." You all line up, picking out your favorite flavors. Gerald piles on a mix of strawberry and chocolate chip, while Helga insists on her classic choice of Rocky Road. Arnold goes for vanilla, with extra sprinkles, and you choose your own favorite, feeling like this victory celebration couldn't get any better. Just as you're about to dig in, Arnold glances at the door and frowns. You turn to see what he's looking at and spot Eugene standing outside with his face pressed to the window. He's watching everyone inside with a sad look, and you realize he must have heard about the celebration, but hadn't been invited along. Without missing a beat, Arnold waves him in. "Eugene, come join us. You're part of the school too, and we've got plenty of room." Eugene's face lights up as he steps inside, looking surprised but thrilled. "Thanks, guys. I didn't want to interrupt, but I thought maybe I could help celebrate, you know?" Helga rolls her eyes, muttering, Yeah, the more, the merrier, I guess." But there's no real annoyance in her tone, and you can tell she's okay with it too. As you all settle around the table, sharing laughs and recounting the Quiz Bowl's best moments, Eugene pipes up. "I heard P.S. 119 is already planning a rematch. They're saying it was all just luck that you guys won." You glance at Arnold, whose brow furrows slightly. "Well, if they want a rematch, we'll be ready. But for now, let's just enjoy this win." The rest of the afternoon is filled with laughter, with everyone taking turns making up silly quiz questions to test each other. Gerald quizzes Arnold on random movie trivia. Helga challenges you with questions about local landmarks, and Eugene attempts some riddles that only he seems to understand. As the sun begins to set outside, you feel a deep sense of belonging. You look around at the faces of your friends and realize that moments like these, laughing over ice cream, trading stories, feeling like you're part of something bigger, are what make this neighborhood so special. When it's time to head home, Arnold gives you a pat on the shoulder. "Thanks for being part of the team. I'm glad we all got to do this together." You smile, knowing that this victory wasn't just about the Quiz Bowl, it was about the friendships you've built and the memories that will last long after the excitement fades. As the days pass, The excitement of the quiz bowl begins to settle, but the bonds you've strengthened with your friends feel stronger than ever. Life in the neighborhood returns to its usual rhythm, with you, Arnold, Gerald, and the gang getting back to your daily routines. But the victory has left a lasting energy, as if everyone in the neighborhood has a little more pride in P.S. 118. One sunny afternoon, you're hanging out with Arnold and Gerald at the stoop of the boarding house, sharing plans for the weekend. Gerald mentions a pickup basketball game down at the park, and Arnold suggests heading to the arcade after. The three of you are laughing when Helga strolls by, acting as if she just happened to be passing through. She stops, hands on her hips. "So, did you three brainiacs think you could just forget about my idea?" she asks, raising an eyebrow. Arnold tilts his head. "What idea, Helga?" Helga sighs, as if it should be obvious. "The victory celebration, duh. I've been thinking, if we're going to be remembered as the team that took down P.S. 119, we need to do it right with a huge, unforgettable bonfire down by the river." You and Gerald glance at each other, both surprised and intrigued. Gerald grins. "That's actually a pretty good idea, Helga." Arnold nods, warming up to the plan. "A bonfire would be fun. We could invite everyone from the school and make it a real celebration." Helga looks pleased, though she quickly hides it. "Well, of course it's a good idea. Someone around here has to keep things interesting." That Friday night, you, Arnold, and the rest of the gang gather down by the river, where the city lights twinkle across the water. Gerald and Sid bring snacks, while Eugene tries to start the fire, but ends up getting his sleeve caught in a marshmallow stick. Arnold steps in to get the fire going, and soon, everyone's gathered around the warm glow, laughing and talking as the flames flicker against the night sky. The atmosphere is perfect kids telling ghost stories, roasting marshmallows, and recounting every detail of the quiz bowl victory. Even Helga gets in on the fun, though she keeps her tough girl act going, insisting she's only there because she organized it. But you catch her smiling when she thinks no one is looking. As the night wears on, you take a moment to sit back and look around at everyone. There's Arnold, deep in conversation with Gerald, the glow of the fire reflecting in their eyes. There's Helga, laughing despite herself, and Eugene, trying to play his harmonica to everyone's amusement. You realize just how lucky you are to have found your place in this world, surrounded by friends who feel more like family. Eventually, Arnold turns to you, a thoughtful expression on his face. "I think this is one of those memories that'll stick with us forever," he says, his voice soft. "No matter where we go or what happens next, we'll always have this our neighborhood, our friends, our little victory." You nod, feeling the weight of his words settle over you like a warm blanket. In that moment, you realize that the quiz bowl wasn't just a competition. It was a reminder of what really matters. The victory, the friendships, the laughter, it's all part of the journey you're taking together. As the fire dies down, everyone starts to pack up, the night drawing to a close. You, Arnold, and the rest of the gang walk back up the familiar streets, each of you quietly holding onto the memories of the evening. And as you say goodbye and head home, you feel a quiet happiness, knowing that in this world, surrounded by these friends, you've truly found your place.